Here's a pitch to Harrison. Harrison trying to turn the near corner. He won't do it. You know, Stewart and Awatefe leading the way on a surge for the Indians on the tackle. Go ahead, Coach.
They are set up right now for the play-action pass, and as soon as Mercer come up with something good and run a play-action pass, he can get that ball downfield. He has to go vertical. He can't go lateral anymore because time is running out on it. 6 minutes and 25 seconds. They got to get this ball in the end zone, and Richmond won't have a chance because if Anacostia gets this ball, that running shooting is beginning to start clicking.
And this is Mathis that's slow getting up for the Indians. It appears from our vantage point that he has a cramp as the trainers for Anacostia attends to the player. And
Mathis was in on that tackle there, Shelley, so maybe somebody fell on him and he twisted something the wrong way.
Let's acknowledge the cheerleaders. We haven't talked about the cheerleaders today. The H.D. Woodson cheerleaders and Anacostia cheerleaders are putting on a good show here today. Go ahead, Rick, get a shot of the CLDs, the cuties on duties.
Well, I'll tell you, they have absolutely been great all year. People must remember that these young ladies start in the summertime, and a lot of them go through all 3 or 4 sports, and they're never getting home, and they're true athletes. They bear the weather with those little skirts on to this day. I'm trying to figure that out, how they can endure that cold weather.
One word, stockings.
Hey, look, I had pants and a long coat on. I'm still cold, so, you know, you have to take our hats off.
Second down and 11 for HD. This is Mercer. Throws pass is complete to Wells. Wells inside the 35, still on his feet inside the 30. And the Anacostia players were trying to strip the ball from him, but Wells did a good job of holding on to it. And it's going to be 1st and 10, H.D. Woodson from the Anacostia 29-yard line.
I think Andre Thomas not only inspired his team, but he inspired everybody in the stadium because all of a sudden he wants to pull out Andrew Thomas. And he wants to get in there and not go down and fight his way through, which is good.
Well, we're not going to see anybody go down here on the little arm tackles at the end of this game. Folk are running like they are really possessed. And it's almost a matter of who's going to break that last tackle to get to the end zone. I mean, like you said, Coach, Thomas Anacostia has inspired guys on both sides, and we've seen folks just running through tackles.
After the 14-yard gain by Wells, it'll be 1st and 10 HD from the Anacostia 29-yard line. Mercer puts the ball on the ground to Harrison. Harrison stopped at the line, and it's going to be maybe a loss of about a yard. It'll be 2nd down and 11 coming up.
Looked like Childs, D'Angelo Childs, and Cropper, and a couple other folk were in on that tackle. And we've been told that 15 of the 41 rushing plays in this game have resulted in negative yardage. So that lets you know that the defensive players are tough and they're attacking the ball. And they're not waiting for those running backs to come to them, but they're shooting the gaps and running through people, and they're making plays behind the line of scrimmage.
Loss of a couple on the last play. 2nd down and a dozen coming up for the Warriors. Mercer looking to go up top again. Rolling to his right. Under pressure by Johnson. Gets the pass away. It is complete. Inside the 15-yard line. On the reception for the Warriors is number 5, Michael Hubbard.
Now, see, that was the same play that they ran down here, but what happened was he bent the play inside. He had more room to work with, and that gave Mercer more time to roll outside and gave him time to break to the sideline, and the play was good. That was an 18-yard completion, and that was an excellent play on the part of Mercer to get outside, because I tell you something, number 77 for Anacostia, Norman Johnson, was bearing right down on his back when he threw that thing.
And the Warriors finally utilizing the passing game, get a big 1st down deep inside the Anacostia territory as they now operate inside the Indian red zone. From the 13-yard line, 1st down and 10 for Mercer. Hands off the tailback, that's Harrison. Harrison pushing his way inside the 10. It'll be 2nd down and about 7.
Coach, I'm looking for some kind of quick slant by HD here close to this goal line, because the Anacostia defensive backs look like they're giving almost 10 yards cushion, and that close down the end zone, you can't do that because of a quick slant across, and these HD receivers can be in the end zone.
Well, I'll tell you something. With 4 minutes and 15 seconds and counting in this game, Woodson must do something here if they're going to survive, because if Anacostia gets this ball back, I can't see Woodson getting another opportunity.
They're going to give Harrison 4 for his troubles on the last play. It'll be 2nd down and 6. And we're going to have a timeout on the field as HD is going to call the TO with 4:01 left in regulation.
I think that was a very smart call, the timeout on the I think that was a very smart timeout on the half of H.D. Woodson, Coach Bob Haddon, simply because he knows that a second down and you're on the 9-10 yard line, you don't have to do something right, because this is his last opportunity before he goes back the other way with Anacostia. So if he gets anything down here, it's a plus, and he certainly wants to call the right plays. So I think this is an outstanding timeout. Make sure that people know what they're supposed to do, got everything in sync, and things are working out just fine.
We remind our viewers, next week's broadcast will be the 1993 DCIAA Football Game of the Week retrospective show. A review of this past season's games, some highlights that some never before seen footage, some interviews like the legend Eddie Robinson of Grambling State University. We'll talk with him, and some nice footage from this past season we'll take a look at. That's next Tuesday night at 7 o'clock right here on DCPS Cable 28, immediately followed by the 1993 DCIAA Soccer Championship game featuring Bell and Wilson. After the TO, it's going to be 2nd down and 6. Mercer on the pitch, it's loose. Picked up by the Warriors, number 5, Michael Hubbard. Big loss on the play, and it's going to bring up 3rd down and long.
Well, we also, like you say, Shelley, we give our ball players at the end of the game special T-shirt from KYS. We also got a special bonus prize for them. We'll be giving them also a shirt from the Sports Machine, George Michael. And we're happy that George Michael and his people up here, his camera crew and things, and they're also checking this game out. And they've given us also shirts to give to the winning ball player. I mean, the winning, most likely.
3rd down and 15 for the Warriors. This is Mercer on the bootleg. Gets the pass away, but it is deflected. And guess who? The big man. Norm Johnson, who was having an abnormal day today.
That was Derek McDonald, number 72.
All right, so we'll credit McDonald with the deflection. Still in all, though, it'll be 4th down coming up for H.D. Woodson. And will Coach Haddon decide to go for the 3, or will he go for it?
Well, Shelley, you know, one thing I want to bring out there is that misdirection worked there because Cropper, number 60, for Anacostia, Bashir Cropper had shot right up there, up the middle, but that misdirection caught him completely off guard, and he caught himself running straight up the field.
The Warriors are going to go for it on 4th down and 17. Mercer drops back deep. He's under pressure. He eludes one tackler, gets some blocking. Now he's off to the races. He's still on his feet. Got some little blocking on the far side, and it's going to be brought down inside the 20-yard line.
I don't believe.
And he did all that for only a gain of about 2 yards.
And I don't believe that Woodson man was standing right there, would not block for him. He had a blocker in front of him, and that blocker did not pick up that man. Had he done that, Mercer would have went into the end zone. I just want to say, on that last play before that, had Mercer gotten outside to pass the ball to the man, it would have been completed except for one thing. You have to get somebody out there in front of him to help him because he's too little. He can't see over those guys, and that's the only way it's going to make it work. So, I was just going to say, he's a heck of a passer. He just can't get the ball through there. He has to get in certain position to make it work.
Big play by Awatefe for Anacostia.
And the ball will go over on downs to the Indians, 1st and 10 from their own 17-yard line. And they put the ball on the ground.
Big number 73, Marcus Riggs. 280 pounds of mass confusion for H.D. Woodson, causing all kind of chaos for the Anacostia Indians.
But that's one thing about great athletes. When things get tough, the tough gets going, as my coach Leo Miles out here, who was honored today at halftime, would say. But the cream always rises to the top. And we see these top athletes are doing nothing but what they're supposed to do. An outstanding job.
Coach, as we approach the 2-minute mark, who do you think it would be more feasible for to go in overtime? Who do you think would rather go in overtime, Anacostia or H.D. Woodson?
Well, Anacostia has that run-and-shoot offense that'll be in every half simply because they have actually gotten away from the run-and-shoot offense. They're a bit more running than anything else.
This is Gibson under pressure. Flag on the play, and Gibson's going to be knocked down inside the 5-yard line.
You're going to have a holding. It's going to be an offensive holding.
Number 55.
And if that's the case, HD will probably decline the penalty and take the yardage. No, they're going to call face mask against HD Woodson.
Whoa.
Big break for the Indians.
Whoa.
With $1.52 left in regulation.
Shelley, big break is the word, because if that call had gone against Anacostia, they would have been pinned down deep in their own side of the field. And one thing Anacostia cannot afford to do right here is to give that ball back to HD Woodson with any time left on this clock. So, you know, the first thing they were thinking about is trying to score, but almost just as important is Anacostia's got to make sure not to give this ball back to H.D. Woodson. So even if they can't score, which should be the primary concern, they got to make sure to kill this clock.
But you have to remember, too, when we go back a few plays, one big play, Brian Johnson, number 63, had an opportunity to get an interception and run it in, and it bounced off his hands. So that might be something we might look back on and think about, because he was at the 30-yard line with clear sail.
Second down and about 2 coming up for Anacostia from their own 25-yard line. They start the clock back up. It's 1:45 left in regulation.
Free safety playing deep. Don't want anybody getting behind them.
They put the ball on the ground on Langley. Langley trying to bulldoze his way across the 30-yard line, a gain of about 4. It's good enough for an Anacostia first down. Now let's see if the Indians will set up in the hurry-up offense.
Well, you can tell how things have changed, because for most of the entire game, we've seen the free safeties on both sides of the ball playing up pretty close. Now we see HD has put that free safety back there because they're trying to ensure that no one gets behind them, or even if it's a quick slant pass or a quick out like Anacostia's run for about the last quarter and a half, they want to make sure if he does break a tackle, they've got a free safety back there to give some assistance.
And, Coach, I think you're right. I think it's in the best interest of Anacostia if this game goes in overtime, as it's quite evident that the Indians seem pretty content to play for the tie. They put the ball on the ground on Langley, and Langley's going to be brought down behind the line of scrimmage. It'll be second down and long.
Well, we're going to find out with 1 minute and 5 seconds and counting. And what happened is that this game is nothing more than spectacular, is what we talked about before. We talked about how tight these two teams were. And going in, and 3 weeks ago they played, it was a 24-22 different, or 2-point difference between the two teams. And as we see right now, they're tied.
Again, keep in mind that the H.D. Woodson's 6 points was by an interception return for a touchdown. H.D. Woodson's offense has pretty much been non-existence, and so Anacostia would be more than happy to go in that overtime, feeling that their defense has been playing more than up to par. And that is the case, as they just played on the safe side. They put the ball on the ground to Langley. Langley across the 40. And it's going to be forced out of bounds at the 43-yard line with 19 ticks left in the ballgame.
That was a big play there, coached by Langley. He kept his legs driving and kept spinning. You all might have noticed that he's spinning, trying to bounce off of folks. So it looked like HD had shut him down at the point of initial contact, but he kept rolling off and picked up some yards.
But more importantly, he went out of bounds, stopped the clock. So what happens now, they have 19 seconds. Other than that, he's been going downfield, stopped the clock, run out on it, and then they kept him in bounds. But they have a couple plays here to really try to do something to get it in the end zone. I don't think Willie still wants this thing to go in there as much as it may seem. He wants to get this thing over. He can get in here and get some points right now, get anytime, get down there. He'll try to take a field goal, anything right now, because that's what he has to do to try to win.
Coach, I find that hard to believe after the last couple of calls that Anacostia has been making. I mean, they've been known as a run and shoot team, but they've been taking their time, making the last couple of calls, letting the clock run out. I think Anacostia is looking forward to going in overtime, knowing that the defense has been shutting down HD all day.
Like we said, they pretty much have the advantage because of the type of offense that they run. But the thing is, you have 2 tries right here, and I don't think he's just going to down this ball right now. If he does, it surprised me. Well, it wasn't too surprising because, last week in the playoffs, he dived the ball for, a whole minute and 50 seconds. He just kneeled on and moved it back, lost something like 55 yards. So it's pretty much, if he's going to play safe, that's what's going to happen. If he's not going to play safe, he's going to take one shot, see what he can get, and possibly get a 5 field goal attempt.
And, Shelley, one thing to keep in mind, though, I mean, I see your line of reasoning, but also let's keep in mind that Gibson is a young quarterback, and several times has either had too much air on his balls or just recently in the game has tried to force some passes. So one of the things we might, maybe Coach Stewart is thinking, if he's going to go deep or go for the pass with that tough H.D. Woodson rush, he wants to make sure that Woodson doesn't have enough time if there is a turnover by the young quarterback to try and run the ball back.
19 ticks left in regulation. First down and 10 from the 44-yard line of Anacostia. Ricardo Gibson, the 10th grader, trying to give the Indians the lead for good. Gibson's looking to go up top, gets the pass away. Incomplete. Almost intercepted by number 31 for the Warriors. That was Jamel Farouk. Farouk, another one of those all-league candidates that we had made mention of earlier, couldn't come up with the pick.
Shelly, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's what he was trying to do. What I was trying to say, he was trying to get one play downfield. He's going to sneak another play in and try to get a field goal, try to end this thing real quick. I couldn't see him, but when he went back in that shotgun, I said, that's all. Because He knew at 19, with 19 seconds remaining, he's on the 40-yard line. He has an opportunity to get down there. If he makes some mistakes, they don't have enough time to come back on him, so he really has the last shot in this game. And I think that's what Willie Stewart winning.
Coach, now you know better than to bring up field goal. Now, you know that H.D. Woods has got a nice kicking game, but Anacostia will try to go in the end zone. Langley is going to get his number called, and the clock will run down inside 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, and we are going into overtime, folks. The 1993 DCIAA championship game ends in a 6-6 regulation tie, and we will go into overtime.
Well, I'll tell you something. We get a note here from H.D. Woodson. Bernard White, he has 2 sacks today, and he played a big game. That's number 62 for the Warriors. But like you said, Shelley, this game is in overtime, and my opinion is that Anacostia have the advantage because of the type of offense. But that doesn't put Woodson out because, you know, head coach Bob Haddon is a very, very knowledgeable guy. He knows what he's supposed to do. He makes adjustments well. And we're looking for this to be just a fantastic finish.
And I'm going to counter that with this comment, Coach. At the top of the broadcast, I made mention of the fact that in Anacostia's 12 games that they played this year, 6 went down to the wire. That's half the games they've been involved in. 6 went down to the wire. Out of those 6 games, they only lost 1. And you know, and that was to this H.D. Woodson ball club right here. And you know, and I know both, if you give Willie Stewart another crack at you said it before yourself in the past, if you give the Godfather, quote unquote, another crack at beating you, he's going to come out with some trickery or some gadget out of his bag of tricks to come out victorious the second go around.
I agree with that 100%.